You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast, joined today by Pete Turbovich, Penguin Pete Turbovich. Say hi, Pete.
That's me.
Sorry?
That's me, all right.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, we're here in the post Fantasia film festival excitement, and now we just have the doldrums of summer apparently.
Yes, Giles Edwards is on some sort of very secret vacation where he cannot be reached at all. So nobody knows exactly where he is or what he's doing, just that he's taking some time off and will be back next week. So in the meantime, we have one new theatrical release to discuss, one thing to mention that's just on VOD very briefly, and a bunch of physical media releases, four of which are in a series, one of which is very, very significant, and two others. And there they are, the ones we're going to be talking about this week. And can you see these stills, Pete?
Yep.
Okay, well, let's go to the first one. And I guess good luck describing that, but take a shot at telling the folks on audio.
We see a mishmash of splattered psychedelic colors and day glow paint colors, and all over what appears to be an alien half stomped and mangled on the floor. At least if you count aliens as being the common gray model with three fingers and the big bloaty head with the big almond eyes. That's got to be like the ISO standard alien build now.
Yeah, I think they look like fetuses, the gray aliens to me.
That was probably started by 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I wonder if that's where it came from. Yeah, so it's got the alien, though gray, is actually blue in this picture and has reddish pink paint splatters all over, which maybe it's blood. And then there's something green in the corner, a green line in the corner. Who knows what that is? It's a splatter of psychedelic colors. And what do you know what it's from?
Well, I forget the title. I saw the trailer though, and the entire trailer is pretty much this for like,
Yes.
but it's just, I see the trailer is doing a whole lot of quoting to try to make this out to be another Evil Dead. I saw one quote comparing it to. That's what they're trying to go for.
Well, before we go on, let's mention the title, which is, or let me refresh your memory of the title. It's Jimmy and Stiggs is the title.
Jimmy and Stiggs, okay.
Jimmy and Stiggs. And it's from a guy named Joe Begos, low-budget horror director who always seems to film things in these neon colors and very stylish. He also stars in the movie. I believe it's a pandemic era movie. And my goodness, Pete is smoking on camera. That's going to get us an R rating.
It's just tobacco this time, honestly, just a cigar.
Okay. Hey, we could get in trouble though.
It's a cigar, right?
One of Giles's big pet peeves is the MPAA now rating movies for including smoking. It deeply offends him. But yeah, so it's Joe Begos. The plot is he's some kind of drug abusing, maybe filmmaker. He's a filmmaker. And he has a bender and blacks out, believes he's been abducted by aliens during his blackout, and that the aliens are coming back to get him. And indeed, it looks like the aliens do come back to get him in his apartment, and he slaughters them with shotgun, blowtorch, and just about anything he can. And these little, puppet aliens spray all this neon
Hmm.
colored blood around as the carnage escalates. I think he's Jimmy. No idea who Stiggs is, though. It looked like there was only one character in the trailer, and a lot of heavy metal music, too.
Hmm.
So watch that hyperkinetic trailer. I think you had discussed probably most of what you wanted to discuss in the beginning, but do you have anything to add there, Pete?
Yeah. Kind of interesting how an alien abduction story, because most of the time when I hear about alien abductions and people are like, oh, the aliens were like angels. I wish I was with them now. They were making it so, oh, it was so peaceful and everything. And this guy's like, ah, try and get me again, aliens. Ah. So I like that.
Yeah,
Um, you'd think the aliens would pick an easier target after this guy gave them that much trouble, but hey,
that's aliens for you.
what are you gonna do?
All right. So I believe that one's in lightly in theaters. It's most likely on VOD simultaneously, or if it's not, it's going to be very soon. Um, I don't have the information for that right at my fingertips right now, but you won't have to wait long for that. I can pretty much guarantee you from WTF Films. All right, this one I just wanted to hit
Ah.
very quickly because this is coming to VOD. Go ahead and describe this poster if you would. It's a rather dramatic poster, I think.
Yeah, it's a Wild West scene with a cliff somewhere, possibly around maybe Montana or Utah, with a herd of buffaloes charging off the edge of the cliff. One taking quite a dramatic headfirst tumble, with the tagline, "Hindsight is 2020."
Right. 2020 being the year the movie is set. This is not a weird movie, I have to tell you. It is a recommended movie, and people want to see it because it's from Ari Aster, and it's called Eddington. Just out of theaters, now on VOD. I saw it in theaters and reviewed it for the site. As I said, not a weird movie, although at one point in the climax, it gets so wild that I almost thought, gosh, is the lead character hallucinating here? But no, it's just it's Ari Aster's Coen Brothers movie, I'd say. So it's set
Huh.
during the pandemic. It's about a small town, which is a microcosm of America, and you have, the crazy liberals who are, white kids doing their Black Lives Matter protest, even though there's only one black guy in the town and he's a cop, and the conservatives are either really way too angry about masks or into these deep, deep conspiracy theories. And so everybody kind of gets a little lampooned, and it does end in tragedy. Um, any comments on Eddington?
Nope. It sounds like a pretty sharp political satire with a for our modern times.
Yeah, I think what I wrote about it and sort of my takeaway was, if this had been made in 2010, people would have thought it was totally outlandish, like Southland Tales. Totally, totally impossible that like a kid could, you know, kill people on a live YouTube stream and then become a famous podcaster and make a living because of that. And then I said, 5 years later, looking back on it, it seems like something that might have actually happened, and we just kind of forgot. So it's that kind of movie. All right, but that one I just wanted to mention because it is now on VOD, and people who are interested in Ari Aster's career can go check it out. It is a fun movie, recommended. Maybe fun's not the right word, but a interesting and meaningful movie. I will further mention one thing. It is available on VOD, but of course it's A24. That means it's at premium pricing at first, so you'll pay about $20 for a rental. And if you're going to wait, if you can wait a month or two, it's going to go down. But that $20 is still less than it would cost you to see it for a couple in the theater. So it might be worth it for some people. But let's move on to the major Blu-ray release of the week. You want to take a shot at
Yeah.
describing this cover poster?
Ah. A very starkly drawn animation still. Looks like a series of beasts, perhaps three animals, perhaps lions or wolves or something with sharp teeth and eyes and ears. Is depicted in big red lines with glowing yellow eyes, and and it's called The Tragedy of Man. That's about all the detail on this poster.
Right. Yeah. Very, very simple poster. The Tragedy of Man from Marcell Jankovics. Jankovics, I think is how you pronounce it, who is famous animator, Hungarian animator, famous especially around these parts for Son of the White Mare. There is a lot of background information on this. We could probably spend a whole show talking about it without even having seen it. But first, I wanted to get your reactions, Pete, to the trailer, which is equally wild as the Jimmy and Stiggs trailer, but in a different way. What did
Yeah. I did take in the trailer. It seems to be a sweeping, very ambitious epic about nothing less than the struggle between God and the devil, good and evil. And a lot of the animation I noticed took inspirations from ancient art forms, including caveman paintings. There's one where caveman paintings of buffaloes come to life. There's another one where Egyptian hieroglyphic characters are animated, and it seems to tell like the entire story all the way through there. I believe there's even a vignette of the times of Jesus Christ in there too, where he gets whipped and crucified. So, yeah, seems to be one heck of a thing. I was reading up on it and said it took like 24 years in the making.
Yep.
Wow.
And just to add to that, there's also a segment that looks like a Grecian urn.
Yeah, that's probably ancient Greek characters on
Yep.
there.
Yep. Um,
Tragedy of Man.
yes, and so it took 23 years
Uh-huh.
to finish. It started in 1988. Um, After he had finished, I think he did a number of things, but certainly, let me see, when was Son of the White Mare completed? Son of the White Mare was completed in 1981. So by 88, he had started work on this one. I know that over the years, segments of it were shown on Hungarian television. I think the final movie is about 2.5 hours, and they say it's among other trivia, it's the longest animated European feature ever made. So there's that. More
Hmm.
background on it. It's from a play from 1861, which has been compared to Paradise Lost or Faust, a kind of a combination of both those, but by a Hungarian author. And the play is called Tragedy of Man. And this plot is that it's Satan talking to Adam very soon after the fall, and Satan agrees to show Adam the future and what's going to happen to his descendants. Um, and as Adam sees, things don't go well throughout the years. It's always bad stuff happening. It goes through, as he said, the caveman times, Egyptian, Greeks, Romans, Jesus, and then I think medieval times, French Revolution, and then there is a scene in that seems to be set in World War I, maybe some kind of prologue in or brief part of World War II, because you see a scene of Stalin kind of morphing into Hitler back and forth in there. And then there's a final glimpse at the future, which is, a dystopian Marxist world. So the play was written in 1861, so some of these segments had to be rewritten for this. One more thing, that play was also adapted into another movie, a live action movie called The Annunciation, which I believe was 1984 and which is now largely unavailable due to child nudity, although it's not child pornography. But the film, it was that story told with all child actors, and they're sometimes nude, and for that reason, I don't think we're gonna see that one get re-released.
Really?
Yeah.
El Topo has a nude kid running around in it all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know obviously I haven't seen it, and I just know it's been unavailable in the West for a long time, and no one has ever talked about re-releasing it. I'm kind of jumping, I might be jumping to the conclusion. I know that there's child nudity in it. I might be jumping to the conclusion as to that's why it's not being released. But that's my guess.
Now it sounds scary.
It does. People are very, very paranoid about any kind of child nudity today in a way that they weren't back in the 80s and still aren't as much in Europe as we are in the United States. Nevertheless, we're not talking about that one, which is supposed to be a weird movie, but it's just one that's not available right now. The animation styles change a lot. A lot of it looked to me like Fantastic Planet kind of stuff. A lot of
Yeah.
it was cutout animation, then some was more traditional 2D animation, and then some of it was more sort of abstract, black and white, mostly sketches. All of it had a psychedelic edge to it with lots of morphing characters and very bright colors and things glowing on the screen, and just very crazy, crazy looking movie.
Hmm.
Any more thoughts? I think I've covered just about all the important background information of that. It is from Deaf Crocodile, so it has a lot of supplemental material on the Blu-ray disc. But any other thoughts, Pete? Or
No, no, it looks interesting. I will try to check it out when if I do find it.
okay, Deaf Crocodile, I will point out, releases their stuff on physical media and does not license it to streaming. I think it's always removed from streaming. At some point they may relent and put their old catalog on streaming. They may have plans to start their own own channel once they have enough material or something. I don't know, but all I can say is right now, for the time being, your only chance to see this is going to be by buying this Blu-ray. But let's move on and talk about four of
The
these
blockbuster.
in tandem. Yeah, we have a fourfer here. Boy, so much, so
We have a
much.
four for here.
What can you describe about this four cover?
Well, folks, you're in for a treat if you like your avenging toxic. The American flag is a background to a man with an extremely lumpy, disfigured face, brandishing a mop fiercely in his crusty, chemically burned tutu that he always runs around in. And the title would make it clear and remove all doubt from those of you who begin to suspect. This is the Toxic Avenger. And there's a repeat of that cover with him carrying a girl this time. I believe his deaf girlfriend from the first movie in Toxic Avenger Part 2. Him fighting a winged bat looking thing with his mop again in Toxic Avenger Part 3. And then Citizen Toxie, the Toxic Avenger 4, has a completely different stylized cover with a lot more going on. I've taken way more time describing these covers than um.
Yeah, well,
So anyway,
if we had Giles here, this would take an hour to describe these four covers. So
I'm briefer with it because I figure, hey,
thank you. Not that I dislike Giles's. I love Giles's cover descriptions. They sometimes cause time crunches. But yes, so it's the Toxic Avenger. All four of them now on UK 4K UHD with a Blu-ray also included from Troma directly, all four of them. Pete, thoughts about Toxic Avenger as a series, as a thing,
As a concept,
as
as
a
an art movement, as a
yes,
genre-defying, no, I'm,
yes.
I, it's fun. I would note that none of the Troma movies and either one of us have reviewed on the site ever quite made the cut to the list. The Toxic Avenger comes close. It's got its heart in the right place, but like a movie like even something like Blood Diner really blows away Toxic Avenger on the scale. So there's a bit more going on there. Like Toxic Avenger kind of sort of could have used a couple more ideas in there besides just the base story. Even though it is beloved, it has a cult following, it's well earned. It's Troma. Troma has their own little unique formula there that's just a nice balance of being brain dead stupid, but at the same time sort of clever about it. So yeah, they have a great reputation here. They realized they had a hit on video back in I believe 1984 when this came out. And boy, if you even look at Toxic Avenger now, you can just smell the polyester right through the screen. It's just it's um it's partly set in a fitness club, so there's lots of spandex and sweatbands and leg warmers and yeah, looks like somebody's about to get out and break dance any minute. Anyway,
That's the original, yeah. I have to correct you. There is one Troma movie on the canonically weird list, and that is
oh
Tromeo and
yes,
Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet. That's right. That's right. That's the one.
Um, so yeah, so Toxic Avenger changed everything for Troma Studios. They were mostly distributing other people's movies. They were making their own, but they were distributing other people's movies, which they still do today. But this one was their big drive-in hit. The original Toxic Avenger is quite a bit different from the three sequels, I think. It's a slightly absurd spoof, mainly of slasher movies, more than this idea that Toxie is a superhero wasn't really in the first one. It was more, he was a nerd who was dumped in toxic waste and turned into this mutant, and he went around and killed all the jocks and the hot girls that made fun of him. Then in the sequels, he became like this good guy superhero who is fighting the forces of evil. And I like the sequels better than the original. I'm in a minority there, and I like part two the best, and think I'm
Ah,
really in a minority there. Um, but also the sequels that started two and three were shot back to back in '88 or '89. And in two, he goes to Japan. In three, he fights the devil, and that's a demon you see there on the cover.
oh, is that the devil?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that's a
then
trouble.
number four came years later in, gosh, was it like 2000? I'm not sure. Let me see. Part four. Well,
Yeah, in
definitely.
any case, I never saw the sequels. I only saw the first one.
Okay. Part four came in 2000. So it was quite a bit later. Um, and the two sequels, two and three, were from 80, released in 89. They may have been shot in 88. This, as I said, the first one was kind of a slasher spoof, and then he became the superhero character uh, for the sequels. And the sequels, in the time between they made the original and they started making the sequels, they made Sergeant Kabukiman, NYPD, which was another kind of hit, not as big a hit as Toxic Avenger for him, but it had more of the formula that they started using for every movie going forward of this just, dumb slapstick gags and fart jokes and a lot of nudity, a lot of gore, and it's all set in this fictional extended universe of Tromaville, where everybody seems to be a punk rocker with a mohawk, and everybody wears crazy costumes. So there's a big change between one and the rest of them.
Ah,
I like the sequels better than the original, and you haven't seen the sequels, and I've only seen the original. So I guess
yeah.
that's a
All right.
recommendation to see at least one of the
Checked
sequels.
out then. All right. Well, I'll have to catch up on the rest of them sometime.
You don't have to; they're not essential. Um,
They're not essential, but yeah. It's like Toxic Avenger has so much of a reputation. The first time I'm like, well, how could we be a weird movie site and not have it? But really, that's the difference between what the popular public perceives as weird, and when we really bring out something that's vintage that they haven't seen in a theater before, that's really weird.
yeah, yeah. Toxic Avenger is more of a entry point, and I think it only really appeals to the B movie style weird movie fan, not to the Louis Buñuel or David Lynch style weird movie fan. But
There you go. Yeah.
still deserves they still deserve a mention and a place in our pantheon. One last thing I'll say is that on DVD, when Troma started putting out DVDs, they were really kind of a pioneer in putting out bonus features. So they would load every disc with a bunch of bonus features and ads for other movies that were more creative than trailers and sort of just a mythologizing about Troma Studios. And
Mm.
so they did that before other people did. So you can expect that these discs are going to be loaded with a lot of features. There's like a mockumentary, there's short films from Kaufman, there's multiple commentaries, there's just promotional stuff that they did. There's just going to be a lot of that. And looking at the list, I'm not going to even try to go through all of it. But going through the list, some of it may actually be on multiple discs, be repeated. Um, but there's going to be a ton of supplemental material for that. So just be aware, Toxic Avenger fans. And probably a lot of people who are going to buy this set are people who already had it on DVD or something. So, any final thoughts about Toxic Avenger before we go on to the last two items?
We pretty much beat him to death.
Okay, well, this one I have just selected a back cover for, so it won't be too hard for you to get into describing this.
Uh,
You don't have to
huh?
read all the text or anything.
Well, I'm looking at a tiny little shot at the top of the box with four characters. One of them looks like a priest wielding an axe. A couple more guys looking like they're ready for action or fighting or something, and a couple of gals with their hands on some kind of object. I have no idea what's in that last picture, but there's a couple of gals who are putting their hands on something.
I made it a little larger. Can you
It's a little larger.
tell who
I
the
even
priest
think I
is?
recognize the guy as the priest. It's on the tip of my tongue, but he's wielding an axe, all right. All four of these guys look like they're about to fight zombies.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
all three of these guys, and then the two gals are maybe putting their hands on a mirror smeared with goop. I don't know. I haven't seen this.
it's Prince of Darkness. The priest wielding the axe is the great Donald Pleasance.
Oh yeah, Sam. There we are.
You see him now. Now that I said the name, it's John Carpenter movie from '80s, also from the '80s, just like the Toxic Avenger. This one is from '87. It's, I guess, probably the beginning of John Carpenter's late period, maybe.
Hmm.
After his big hits, he didn't, I don't think he had a big hit after this. This wasn't a hit either. It's actually a kind of confusing film about basically Satan being a blob of glowing glue trapped in a centrifuge in the basement of a church. And how they
Oh,
get there, well, I think even John Carpenter himself is on record as saying that the final product is incomprehensible.
Oh,
It's not quite that bad, but
okay.
uh, it is a little bit hard to follow. I think, let's see, what did I say? There is a nice quote there where a computer monitor flashes the message to the grad students who are investigating this phenomenon. You will not be saved by the god plutonium. So
Hmm.
it's maybe that kind of movie. And
Uh,
I said in my original review, which was written way back in 2013, that it weaves back and forth the thin line that separates the intriguing from the goofy. So that,
Separating intriguing from the goofy.
yeah.
Hmm.
We have the back cover here, so I'm free just to read you their synopsis of it. Master of horror John Carpenter, Halloween the Thing, directs this terrifying battle between mankind and the ultimate evil. A group of graduate students and scientists uncover an ancient canister in an abandoned church. But when they open it, they inadvertently unleash a strange liquid and an evil force on all of humanity. As the liquid turns their co-workers into zombies, the remaining members realize that they have realized the most unspeakable horror of them all. Terror mounts as the team must fight to save the world from a devilish fury that has been contained for over 7 million years. So there you are. As special features of this one, it's a 4K restoration from 2021. And there's audio commentary, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and a separate Blu-ray with the movie and some more special features, an interview with John Carpenter, interview with Alice Cooper, who is an extra in this movie and may have put
Huh.
some of money towards the financing of the film, interview with the special effects supervisor, interview with the composer, look at the locations, and some more trailers and TV spots. One more thing. I believe this is it from Shout Factory? Yes, it's from Shout Factory. It is 4K UHD plus a supplemental Blu-ray, and it is in the highly desirable steelbook format. So Giles and I described the steelbook 4K UHD as the ultimate physical media release. They never, after they've done that one, there's nowhere they can go. There's nothing they can do to make it more special. So
All
that's
right.
it for Prince of Darkness, which has, some cult following, I suppose, among John Carpenter fans. Here's another one in our last 5 minutes with a cult following, and we have a little promotional spread here for you to describe there, Pete.
Well, it's I guess a DVD case or a Blu-ray case with a disc and case out, and looks like it comes in a sleeve, and it's for Vampire Hunter D. Is this an animated movie?
It is. It's one of the, well,
Anime, right?
it's one of the first wave of anime that hit the United States in the 80s after Akira. Back when they were just, I
Ah,
think, just starting the OVA thing where they would release movies directly to disc or directly to,
right.
at the time, VHS. Um, and this was one of them. This was an early one, and it has a more famous sequel called Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust, I believe is the name, and that was more famous and popular. But this is the original, and it is surprisingly not available on Blu-ray before this release, at least as far as I can tell. I think that this is the first Blu-ray release of this one. Giles Edwards reviewed it for us many years ago, and it was the first anime that Giles Edwards ever saw. So,
Oh my goodness, we broke his cherry?
yes, he wrote the plot description: millennia in the future, vampires rule over much of the land. One woman fights back. enlisting the aid of a mysterious stranger in her quest to kill Count Lee, a vampire of great power. And he has a talking hand in this, sentient talking hand in this. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic vampire movie done as an anime. So with like a character
Yep.
who kind of reminds you of the vampire hunter kind of reminds you of a man with no name type from a Sergio Leone Western. And so there's a lot, as you can tell, a lot of cool elements there.
Hmm.
Uh,
Kind of reminds me, just from describing it, kind of reminds me of I Am Legend and other movies in that note, perhaps, huh?
Yeah, perhaps there's a touch of that, in that it's like a post-apocalyptic world with undead type creatures running around.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard of this one, but I haven't seen it, and that's kind of surprising. Somehow it slipped into the radar. The other John Carpenter movie I've never seen either, and I've seen, being a horror fan too, I've seen my share of Carpenter, but that one again kind of slipped into the radar. So we got a couple of interesting ones to go back and visit this week here.
mm. Yes, I have seen, let's see, which of these have I seen? I've seen Eddington, I've seen all four of the Toxic Avengers, I've seen Prince of Darkness, and I've seen Vampire Hunter D, but it was a long time ago. Haven't seen The Tragedy of Man or uh, Jimmy and Stiggs because they just came out, but I've done a good bit of those.
Uh,
Um, so among those, I would recommend. I think I'm most interested to see Tragedy of Man. Probably recommend seeing Vampire Hunter D. The Toxic Avenger sequels you can catch on probably fairly cheaply on streaming if you can't find them for free, and they may be available for free. I should mention the Toxic Avenger sequel or original is being re-released in anticipation of the reboot, which is coming in 2 weeks. The reboot with starring Peter Dinklage as the Toxic Avenger. And
Nobody told me about this.
nobody told you about that, huh? Well, we're saving it for.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. Peter
Peter
Dinklage is
Dinklage.
going from Game of Thrones to Toxic Avenger.
That's exactly it. It's a wild bit of casting.
Wow. Okay. Well, I could see you do a bang up job too, I'm sure.
I'm
That's
sure he'll give it us all. Yeah.
okay. This could be interesting.
Okay, well, look for it in 2 weeks in theaters. And we are just about out of time, so we're going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching to the end. Like, subscribe. Should have said that up front. Buy our book, which you can see over Pete's left shoulder, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, our two volume complete compendium of the 366 weirdest movies ever made by our panel of experts in 2 volumes, two beautiful hardcover volumes, and nice large print. Excellent reading for any movie fan, even if you're not.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.